Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from the Highlands at Pittsford, an independent and assisted living community affiliated with the University of Rochester, offering cottage and apartment homes, daily life enrichment activities, and care assistance as needed. More at highlandsatpittsford.org.
From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Our connection this hour was made with a family. As we'll discuss this hour, family can be many things. There's biological family, of course. There's chosen family. The way families are formed and how they can express themselves can also take on many forms. And that's part of the theme of this month's issue of City Magazine, appropriately called The Family Issue. And the team from City, the family from City, is here to talk about it with us this hour. And it's great to have them in the studio. Leah Stacy, editor-in-chief of City Magazine. Hey,
hello.
Welcome back. Hey, nice to see you. Across the table, hello, Patrick Hoskin, arts reporter for City Magazine. Nice to see you.
And you.
Ryan Williamson, executive director of City Magazine, director of digital products for WXXI Public Media. Welcome.
Hi.
And hello, Flo.
Hey.
Flo Cardello, who is going to talk to us about found family, chosen family, and related themes here. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So, Leah, take us through why family. We're going to talk about this outstanding cover in just a second. But
Yeah.
before we do that, why family for March?
Well, we have a couple of issues every year that are sort of what we call our rotating themes. And this one had been on the docket for a while. I feel like a lot of our content is sort of targeted to this maybe a very wide range of 25 to 65. And we wanted to get something in that could speak to, the experience of having a family in many different ways. I think Rochester is a very family-centric city. We obviously had a little fun with the cover. So while I would not say that the content is specifically targeted to like children, which I think some people may assume, we did try to draw in a wider demographic with this one, but also interpret the concept.
I want to read a little bit from your editor's letter on origin stories, your genealogy, Irish roots, and a trip to Ireland with your sister and brother-in-law. You write about getting emotional when you went to an Irish history museum and reflected on how Irish immigrants left their homeland to escape the potato famine. You write, quote, "Now, almost 3 years later, I think of other families who have a dream of starting over, of families being split apart by a government that has forgotten their own origin stories, that people in their bloodline, too, came to these shores from another place and were allowed to stay and build a life, of the meaning of the American dream in 2026 as the country approaches a 250-year milestone this July," end quote. Tell me more about, so how do you reflected on your own roots in that way and maybe that trip here for you?
Yeah, I mean, the trip, like I referenced, was 3 years ago, but I've just been thinking a lot about this with recent headlines and how there is really only one people native to this country. And yet we are really pretending, and I say we very loosely, I don't mean you and I, but the government is sort of treating other people, not sort of, they are treating other people as though they don't have the same right that a lot of our ancestors were once given, the right to call this place home, the right to settle here and build a new life. And it's just been sitting really heavy with me. And so I was thinking about that, family comes from ancestry. It is rooted, in the traditional sense, in the people that came before you. And for probably everyone at this table, I feel confident saying that our families came from other countries if you go way back in our bloodlines.
Yeah, for sure. And this is not going to be an hour on immigration, thank God. We've talked enough about that. But I understand the reflection of the moment of juxtaposing some of that because I think there are legitimate conversations about what borders should be and what immigration flows should be. And then there's the whole separate thing of, well, this is my country, as opposed to how far back do we need to go so that your people were told that they weren't welcome? And, at some point, the answer for most of it. So I've mentioned this on this program, but I recently talked to my older son about the fact that Dawson's kind of a made up name in our family. Our family name is Gustafsson. It's Swedish. My other family name is Fraunfelder. It's very German. And
I think you should look at a name change. I think you should go back.
Go back to Evan Gustafsson. Yeah, my great-grandfather Axel was told they hated his accent and they wanted him to learn better English. And they're like, you're not getting this job unless you promise you're going to learn English. You try to get rid of that accent, and they told him, like, change your name. Nobody likes to say it. And they just looked across the street and they said, Dawson, that's it.
Yeah.
That's who you are now. And that was it.
Yeah, we're second generation Stacy. My grandfather changed the last name.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, how many?
Stashevsky.
And how many names were changed
Yeah.
because the people who were receiving the immigrants at the time either weren't comfortable, couldn't pronounce it, didn't like it, had a prejudice against it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we forget that history.
We forget. Yeah.
So I really appreciate that note, and I think it's a great way to kick off the idea of family. And we're going to go in a lot of different directions here, but I don't know. Patrick, do you anything you want to add here? Did you have a fake name that you want to reveal here on the air?
No, but now would be my chance to introduce one in the pages of City, right? My nom de plume. That could be my fake
My
name.
nom de
Of course, I would never say what it is, so that no one would know.
Hoskin is what? Let's see here.
Well, from the very preliminary research, I think it comes from the same like English Dutch as like Osgood and those kinds of names. So I think
that's interesting.
I think it's just very largely like Anglo, kind of amorphous.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Williamson is the son of William, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Super just waspy white, like European. Totally.
And what about you, Flo? Cardella
Cardella, my dad's side of the family, is from Sicily.
from Sicily. Okay.
Yep.
So I love thinking about roots, but it is hard to juxtapose that with the way we are talking about who deserves to be in a place.
Yeah.
So, anyway, great start there. I really appreciate that note from Leah. It's the family issue in March. Okay, let's lighten it up a little bit here. Let's talk about this cover. Whose idea was this cover for City? And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If you're not watching on YouTube, you've got basically a coloring book on the cover of City. It's blank. It's meant to be colored. So if
Yes.
you pick up City this month, they want you to color, right?
Yeah.
Do.
I think this was my idea, and I apologize to Jake Walsh, our art director, who can't be here today to talk about his great work. He did this illustration, and it took him a long time, and he was just these little windows in here. He was spending all day.
He said he was like Harold in the Purple Crayon. That's what he referred to himself as with all the windows.
I love that.
He labored over every single detail in here, and I hope you all sit down with your kids or your family or
Who
found
colored
family.
yours?
We did this as a team for a video on our Instagram.
Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, you saw the blank. Now let's take a look at Ryan's there. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
You gotta
that's
hold
like-
it up higher.
Yeah, hold it up higher.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's like B plus.
No, thanks.
I mean, that was
It was
oh no,
literally
that
like-
was like several
It
adults.
was like 5 adults that put this together.
Yeah, and Berto and Katie had the great idea to do sort of like a top-down sped-up color, which there's a little Easter egg in the video, which some people on Instagram call it. But it's so fun. And then I did ask Jake to like do a little extra work and add the train, because I was thinking if my nephew gets a hold of this, he's gonna want to color the train.
Yeah.
I love it.
Put your graffiti tags on the train.
Yeah.
I want to walk around Rochester. I want to pop into a coffee shop and just see somebody's colored city. Just
Oh,
sitting there.
same. Yeah.
That's what I want. So Rochester and Finger Lakes region, get your city, and I want to see it just left in public, like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
just
we're
share
gonna
it with us.
feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
Go ahead. You were saying?
So we want people to tag us at Rock City Mag or email them to jacob@rockcitymag.com. And we're going to feature some of them in the April issue. Be fun.
Well, let's talk about Flo's piece here. It's Flo's piece is Make a Movement. It's about found family. And the first lines of your piece really struck us. You write, sometime in my mid-20s, right after the pandemic, this crazy thing happened to me. Suddenly, I didn't know how to make friends. Tell me more about
Yeah.
that.
I don't know. I feel like when you're a little kid, you're constantly just in group settings where people are like, go introduce yourself to that person. Like, it's okay. No one knows anybody. And as an adult, you're like, I have to be confident enough to walk up to a stranger in a group of people that seem like they know each other in this environment where I'm maybe not confident and say, hey, I'm Flo. Nice to meet you. I think I belong here too.
And so you identify 6 ways to create found family. Define found
Yeah.
family for me.
I think found family, I think any family really is what you make it. It doesn't have to be people you're related to, but it's people that, you know, you feel a kinship with, kind of same sort of mentality, mindset, same general heart between you, that you're like, you know what, I fit in here and I feel like I can be my real self.
So 6 ways to create found family. I'm going to ask you to tell us about each one of these.
Okay.
I'll read down the
Sounds
list.
good. Let's
Number
do
1,
it.
do quiet hobbies together.
Yeah.
Like what?
Absolutely. My roommate and I love to crochet. She kind of got me into it. She's like a wizard, and I'm just trying to keep up. But it's a fun little passive hobby that you can, do something with your hands and maybe still some anxiety and kind of have a deeper conversation if possible, while also having something to show for it.
Number 2, host a potluck-style dinner party.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a house where we always had people over for like every holiday. My mom loves to host. And she would always put a lot of pressure on herself to kind of have everything be perfect. And in my adulthood, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want everybody to contribute, and I want to see what my friends are good at making and what everybody's proud of and what everybody wants to experiment with and try. So if you invite people to bring their own dish, it's kind of just what do you like to eat? What do you like to do? What do you want other people to experience sort of moment?
I love that one. Now,
Yeah.
this number 3 is very interesting to me. Keep admin hours.
Yeah.
What is the story here?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever kind of just been like, I have so much to do and I don't want to do it, and I don't want to say no to opportunities that I have to hang out with people or go try new things just because I need to like file my taxes or, like decide what new laptop to buy or whatever. I like to go sit with my friends in a coffee shop and say, okay, let's all be like really productive here together in this space and like chat and ask for advice and try new things and try new strategies. It's kind of just like I do better with like a body double. Have you ever body doubled with anybody? Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, I think it's like does anybody
No.
do that? And new language for everybody?
Uh-huh.
Cool. I love that. So body doubling is kind of just like there's a person and they're in the room with you and they're doing whatever they want and they just keep you accountable to do whatever it is that you were going to do. So like for me, like if my roommate's sitting at the kitchen table eating dinner, I'm like, I'm going to do all the dishes. I do all the dishes, wash them dry and put them away. And I'm like, that was easy. But if I'm just sitting in the kitchen by myself, I'm like, I'm not doing those dishes. This is crazy.
So it's like an accountability partner.
Yeah,
almost.
it's just like a
Okay.
little accountability
Yeah.
buddy. It's
Co-working.
kinda cool. Yeah, co-working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say you got a 14-year-old son and he's got reading to do, and I'm just like, why are you get that done, please? Eyes on book, please.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
It's
so I'm
easier
kind
when
of
there's
this
someone
body
else
double
around.
there. All right.
Yeah.
But the admin stuff is, to me, that's the conflict I have is if I go to a coffee shop with people, I want to be present for them. I don't want to be on
Yeah.
my tech,
Yeah. I think that there's this weird thing that happens where you're like present, but you're not like ignoring. You're present in both ways. You're present for yourself. You're holding yourself accountable, but you're also like holding your friends accountable and they're holding you accountable and vice versa. And then you can also like still comment. Like the point isn't to be like nonverbal and just kind of like sit there and lock in. You're still like, I want to have this be a social activity. I just want to get something done while I do it.
All right, so that's number 3. Number 4, extend a warm welcome, and you've got a very specific point about
Yeah.
how to do this. So tell us about it.
Absolutely. My good friend Becca Cunningham has this lovely social club called Warm Welcome, which I think is a very fitting name for what it is, to kind of just let people make new friends. It's going on a walk. It's going to go do a cold plunge, going to a sauna, a cookie exchange, a cake party in the park. She does a lot of really cool, engaging stuff, and it's things that you might want to try on your own, but maybe don't have the friend group to get started with, and gives you the opportunity to make friends. Move to a new city, it's a perfect opportunity for you. Or if you've lived here your whole life,
They do this
it's
in
great
Denmark.
for you too. Yeah, they do this in Denmark. Yes, that's kind of where she was inspired.
Love that idea. Number
Absolutely.
5, join or start a book club. They still have these? Do people still read books?
They do. I do, at least.
All right.
I do, certainly. I think that book clubs are definitely underrated. Kind of back to what Leah was saying, I think that a book club kind of gives you the opportunity to look at how other people are living, whether that's a fictional reality or a real life reality, and kind of just chat about that and talk about that. My favorite sort of book club is when you don't all read the same book and you just talk about a book that you're excited about and trying to get other people to talk about it too. But if you're all reading the same thing, that's good as well.
And finally, you just say hello.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, simple, but why?
absolutely. Like, how many times are you walking down the street and you're just like, everybody's in their own mind, and then you like stop and you smile at somebody and you just keep on your merry way. You say like, hi, good morning, and they smile and you smile and you're like, okay, cool. Like, I don't know that person, but it has the opportunity to kind of evolve into something new, and just saying hi is putting yourself out there in a way that maybe you wouldn't otherwise.
When I read this, I thought of a recent experience I had. So my son and I were going into a grocery store. I held the door for a couple of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like hold the door and I say, hey, and both people blew right past, eyes down,
Mm-hmm.
like no acknowledgement. And it's not a big deal. It's just a door. I mean, like I'm not a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But like no human connection whatsoever. So I just told my boy, I'm like, if anybody ever holds a door for you, look them in the eye and say thank you, say hello, greet people, make eye contact. I'm amazed at how often we can pass human beings, either in the street, in a store, on a bus, and to me, it feels very different than when I grew up. This is where I'm like yelling at clouds, but it feels different. And I'm sure tech has a lot to do with it. So I really appreciated this one.
Yeah,
The
I
idea of
appreciate you. Thank you.
finding more human connection there. Do you have
That's
to?
the goal.
Do you tell yourself to make an effort to do it? I mean, like, you almost have to remind yourself to do it.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends. For my job, it's a lot of kind of like putting yourself out there. I work at a bar. It's a lot of like starting conversations with strangers, kind of like asking, "How's your day? What are you doing? What are you excited about?" And I think that like in my regular life, I kind of just like get laser focused sometimes and forget about like quiet, simple moments. And those are oftentimes my favorite. Looking back of like this was a surprise interaction I wasn't planning on having, but I'm glad that I kind of made myself have it.
Good stuff on Found Family. Flo's pieces, Make a Move, Make a Movement from Flo Cardillo. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
telling us about that. Leah's piece, A Daily Festival. We're going to bring in a couple of people connected to that. I want you to introduce them, Leah. Tell us about the story of A Daily Festival here.
Yeah, so this is a story about, it centers on Sagra Italia, which just opened on St. Paul, but it is a sister restaurant to Tapas 177, which is 29 years old this year, which is crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, that's so impressive for a restaurant in a city like Rochester. And then they also own Event 180, which is right across the street, all on St. Paul. And it's largely the Cavatasi family and their partner, who they call Uncle Chris, and we'll be hearing from him, I believe. And they have invested in this block on St. Paul when a lot of businesses have left, have closed for one reason or another, and they believe so strongly in downtown. And I had the best time hearing from them about that. But the cool part is that Demetrio, who was the original founder of Tapas, his daughters, Ava and Mia, have now come into the family business and have really taken the reins at Sagra and Event 180. And they are in their 20s, and it was very inspiring to chat with them. And you will hear more from, I believe, Ava.
Yeah, so we've got Ava Bliss, we've got Uncle Chris. Sagra Italia is the name of the new venture here. Sagra means festival, I think, in Italian, is what I'm reading here, although that is not my native tongue. So Sagra Italia.
Yes, Sagra Italia.
And that's in the old Fifth Frame, which was, when you heard about that closing, it was like, oh man, it feels like it should be such a vibrant space. Tapas is an institution. And let's bring in Ava and Chris, who are with us. Hello, Chris. Hello, Ava.
Hello, how are you?
Great to have both of you there. Chris is partner with Sagra Italia and Tapas 177 and Event 180. Ava, Director of Events and Marketing for Sagra Italia, Tapas 177, and Event 180. So, Ava, you just heard Leah talking a little bit about the family aspect of all of this. 29 years for Tapas in November. Incredible here. Does it feel like a big family to you?
Yeah, so like Leah mentioned, Chris has been a part of Tapas for 25 years now, and we think of him as our uncle. Really grew up with him because I've been at Tapas since I was very little, and we'd run the Park Ave festivals, and now I'm more involved in management for both Event 180 and Sagra. But really, my family has been super involved. Cousins, my mom, we're all there all the time, and we just really believe in all three of these businesses.
Chris, do you feel like family?
They certainly make me feel like family. Yes, absolutely.
And so if listeners haven't been down to this area in a while, again, part of why we do this is, we don't do ads for businesses. We're talking about trends and how we live. And parts of neighborhoods in the city sort of ebb and flow over time.
Yep.
This was one over time. When Fifth Frame opened, I remember being in there talking to Wade and talking to the team there going like, this neighborhood is primed for this. And I never quite can put a finger on what works or what doesn't. But Tapas has been great there. So can I ask both Chris and Ava, when you think about Tapas almost 30 years, but then other businesses have come and gone. So what does it take for a place, a neighborhood, to find a vibe and a success? And, are you surprised at what you've seen in take me kind of through where your vision is there, given all the stuff that's happened over 3 decades. I'll start with Chris.
Okay. Yeah. So you're right. Tapas has been around for what seems like forever. 30 years. That's a long time. And basically, I feel like there's a commitment that we had when it was open, and we're running it, and we own the building. We're certainly not moving the location, and it just made sense for us to do our part to expand and keep this area lively and offer some good services to the city.
Ava, tell me more about that too.
Yeah, so being downtown, it can be tough with certain aspects like parking and, there's not always a huge crowd that wants to come downtown every weekend, but we feel like it's starting to kind of build back up again. We see a lot of new apartment buildings and offices down here, and we're just really excited to see that growth. And we see new faces at Tapas, and now with Sagra and Event 180, we feel like we're seeing even more people that we hadn't seen previously that are coming from different areas of the city, which we're really excited about.
And I'm reading that you plan to have sidewalk. I like the idea of European sidewalk seating, not just sidewalk seating, but kind of that European feel. Leah, we need more European sidewalks in our
Yes.
city, don't we?
I was stoked when they said that. Like, I will be there. Let me know what day it's happening. I'll be there.
Ava, Chris, you want to start with this one here? So what's the vision, especially in the warm months? We're hitting 70 degrees on Saturday. We're looking ahead
Let's
here.
go.
What's it look like, Chris?
Yeah, I can't believe that. Actually, I texted Ava yesterday. I was like, "Did you see the forecast for this week?" Because I was like, we're like in the process of like looking for tables and chairs for outside, and I'm like, my gosh, do I need to like make a trip somewhere and like pick up tables for this weekend? But yeah, no, we have like at Tapas, we have a patio at the back downstairs. I think it's all muraled and behind us over there, and then we do have a small sidewalk patio, I guess you'd call it, in the front of Tapas. But Event 180, Sagra just has so much space there that we want to just fill it up with tables. It's a neighborhood spot. We want people to kind of like come down from their apartment or take a break from one of the offices around here and just come down on a beautiful spring, summer, afternoon and sit down, have a coffee, an espresso, a glass of wine, something like that. I just think it fits with the whole concept.
Anything you want to add there, Ava?
Yeah, so Sagra is different from Tapas in that, we're open for lunch as well. Tapas is just a dinner place and, more late night. And so we're excited to have that patio seating or outdoor sidewalk seating available during these spring and summer months when people can come out, if they're working downtown for lunch and stop by and it's counter service. There's no reservations. It's very casual. So if they wanted to stop in with, a small group of people, grab some sandwiches, like Chris said, like coffee. We also have the full bar. So if you wanted to grab, mimosa during the middle of the day, that's available too. So
I would.
Yeah. We're just excited that can be somewhere else that people can come during the day downtown that they might not have had before.
No, so Leah, Stacy, I think you and I have talked. I think Tapas has come up in past shows when we've talked about where can you actually go out and stay out late. Ever since the pandemic, Rochester's like an early closing city, and Tapas was like on the list of like, well, I think you can still get a late bite or drink there pretty well. But now on the flip side, where can you get lunch? This is not a great lunch city. I mean, that's also been affected by the pandemic. We talked about that last hour. But here we are with another lunch option. So I want more lunch options all over the city. I love this idea. And before we let our guests go, I've got to read one more from Leah's piece here, because you go back with the partnership that Uncle Chris has with Demetrio. And Chris could have followed to a tropical location, could have ended up outside of Rochester, chose Rochester. Talk about chosen family, chosen city.
Yeah.
Chris could have been elsewhere here. And Leah, this is what you write about Chris and Demetrio on their partnership. You said, Observing Demetrio and Chris for any amount of time is like watching Richard Gere and Nathan Lane run a restaurant. Leah, who is Richard Gere and who is Nathan Lane?
I'm glad Chris is laughing at this because I was like, this is in my head, but I don't know if it's going to translate. So they're both actors. But
well, it took me a minute. Just
okay.
So you know.
Okay. And you know, I'm fine with like people Googling this too. Because I think they're like actors that maybe our generation or like the generation even ahead of us would know better than probably Flo's generation.
Oh, man,
Flo is
that's
looking
so
at me kind of like,
No, Pretty Woman. Come on.
yes,
Nathan
okay,
Lane?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Do you know Nathan Lane?
Mouse Hunt. Birdcage, his most famous role
Yes,
in Mouse
yes.
Hunt, of course. But yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Only Murders in the
That was
Building
good.
most
Okay.
recently. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, we're derailing here. I'm so sorry.
We are.
But it was not only the conversations I was having, it was like the energy where it's just that saying like opposites attract, but this is an example of that happening in the best way. You know, there's a lot of business partnerships that I see all around the city, but when you have people who just compliment each other in the best way, and also I watched the two of them as I was talking to them because we were kind of all in the space at the same time. Everyone was being respectful of letting other people kind of have their quotes and their say, and it was very fluid. And I just was so impressed with the interaction that I witnessed.
Well, I love that piece there, and I'm sure Chris loves it too, right?
Yes, I do. It's 100%.
Chris and Ava, good luck to you. Thanks for joining us. And again, it's going to be so interesting to see this slice of the city that has this chance to become more vibrant, not just because of any one place, but special place. Good luck. Let's talk soon, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So a lot of listeners know Tapas, but now Sagra Italia, Event 180, a lot happening there. And we'll see.
We got to shout out Abby's photos too.
Oh,
because
my gosh.
As always, like I just want to leave this chair right now and go eat the food. We actually didn't have time to eat anything while we were there. Every seat was full, and we were like, "Oh my god, we got to come back." It looked so good.
Yeah, the visuals, great job.
Yeah,
on that. Yeah,
she always crushes it. And then she came in with an idea for that portrait of them too, which I think just translated so well.
City Magazine, the Family Issue, March edition. The team from City's here. We'll come right back with them on Connections.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Mary Cariola Center, supporting residents to become active members of the community, from developing life skills to gaining independence. Mary Cariola Center, transforming lives of people with disabilities. More online at marycariola.org.
This is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. As always, you can pick up physical copies of City, and you've got a beautiful chance to color the cover. If you just joined us here, it's the family issue for March. But Ryan, where else do you want people to find City if they can't find the physical copy?
RockCityMag.com.
Piece of cake.
You can read it in kind of physical digital form, if that makes sense. You can flip through the pages on your screen and follow us at Rock City Mag on all your socials. Lots of extra good content there.
We're not even going to be able to, we never do. We can never get through the whole magazine in an hour here, but that's okay. And we're going to bring in Maylee Shepard here, contributor to City Magazine, who wrote a piece called Chosen Family. Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. So this is about foster care and adoption. And I want to first just ask you in general here, what put this on the radar for you? And then we're going to kind of talk about some of the people you profiled. But why this? Why now, Maylee?
For sure. So for me, this is a relatively personal matter. I myself was an international adoptee. I was adopted from China when I was about 1 year old. So for me, family may not be the most traditional sense. My family is my adopted parents, and for them and for my adopted siblings, my adopted family, that this is the only really sense of family that I have. And for me at least, my family and through adoption is like it's as natural as any other family. So I kind of wanted to highlight these families that are created through non-traditional ways and to show that they really fit into this definition of family.
Do you feel like your own life story gets downgraded because you're adopted, or people assume that there's less family connection there?
I think it definitely has. I know growing up people, especially children, have asked like, "Oh, do you know your real family? How like and
Do you
stuff
know
like
your-
that."
They use the phrase
Yes.
real family.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
for me, my adoptive family, that is my real family. I have no connection to my biological parents, or I don't even know who they are. So I kind of wanted to show that these families that are created through adoption and foster care, they're just as real as any other family, and I really just wanted to highlight their stories and their unique journey to coming to become such a family.
Do you stop people if someone says, well, do you know your real family? Do you stop them and say, that phrase is not the right phrase? Or do you kind of just let it bounce off you?
No, I do correct them. I say yes. Like my parents, as I see them, my adopted parents, they are my real parents.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I love them just as much as maybe any other biological parents would love their child. And they love me just as much as any parents love their natural biological child.
So tell us a little bit about Alicia and Josh, who you profiled here.
Sure. So Alicia and Josh Doherty, they're a family from Pittsford, New York. Formerly, they were both special education teachers. Josh still works as a special education teacher, and Alicia is currently a stay-at-home mom. They have adopted adopted 6 out of their 11 children. The other 5 are biological. But they kind of became a family through this unique process of fostering and then adopting and really opening up their family to these children that are in need.
Yeah, and I'm also reading, if you don't mind, I want to read a little bit from your story here. And I want you to set us up with another family you profiled, Gerald and Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about them, and then we're going to talk about, I think it's Tamid?
Yes, Tamid.
12-year-old. But tell us about Gerald and Charles here.
Sure. So Gerald and Charles are they're a couple based in Rochester, New York. They never had any biological children of their own, and they really wanted to extend their family. I think a quote that they said was they had like a lot of time and a lot of love. So therefore, they really wanted to welcome in a child into their home. They knew that there was a tremendous need for foster families, and they really just wanted to expand their love and their care to other people who may be in need.
So this 12-year-old who has been through probably a lot in life. The quote from Tamid here, he says, "It was a little scary and sad. I was expecting Gerald and Charles to be unkind to me, but they were very loving and supportive, and I started to really like them." And you write that he stayed with them for over 2 years, and at that point, it was as if he was already part of the family. The adoption became official in December of 2024, and Tamid says, in a sense, I feel like God sort of wanted us together. I just feel like we were meant to be a family. First of all, that's beautiful, but it's also heartbreaking to hear that this almost teenager has been through so much in life that the assumption is, this is going to be bad. This is going to be awful. Clearly, that's what he'd been through. And I'm so grateful in your story, we find out, well, now he gets a happy ending. But boy, that's tough to hear, the lack of love that he felt at that up to that point.
Yeah, for sure. Tamid shared that in his some prior foster homes, he experienced a lot of neglect. Sometimes some of these foster parents abused him, hit him, and that's just really sad to know. Some of these children just grow up in households where they can't feel safe and they can't feel welcome to grow and feel supported and loved. So I think for him, coming into Charles and Gerald's care really seemed like a blessing to him, and it was very natural. They said that the process of them transitioning from being complete strangers to eventually becoming a family was very natural, and it was very quick because Tamid realized how much love and care was in this household and how much they genuinely wanted to see him thrive and wanted to help him get to a place where he can feel loved and supported and reciprocate this love.
Somebody in the future is going to ask Tamid, who are your real parents, and he's going to point to them.
Yeah.
Just the way you have. And it's going to be, I think, a perfect lesson for us. So I'll wrap with this here. The Dohertys do a lot to advocate for adoption from child care, from foster care. as you mentioned. And I know foster care, as you just mentioned with Tamid, his previous experiences had been varied. They're not all positive. So it's not a perfect system, but I know the Dohertys are passionate about adoption from foster care. Do you get the sense that people just need more education on the subject, that we're sort of still maybe not fully educated as a society as to what foster care is or what the opportunities are?
Yes, for sure. I think that there is a lot of maybe bad rep going around about foster care and children coming from foster care, but in reality, these kids really just need a stable house and just people who really need to who really want to look out for them and to care for them. And I think that having more information about these positive outcomes and these positive stories of how people become families through these resources will really help advocate for foster care and the process of adoption, and just show this is really just another natural way that people become families.
Maylee's piece is Chosen Family in City. Perfectly appropriate in the family issue. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
That's a
Thank
great
you for
story.
letting me share this wonderful story.
That's awesome. Really, really great stuff here. Sometimes, Leah, you got to read quotes like that hit your desk, and it's got to just kind of be a gut punch, but in
the best way.
In the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, but it's beautiful.
And I got to shout out Maylee because she started as an intern here and started coming to the city meetings and really wanted to do work for us. And now she's one of our best freelancers.
There you go.
So,
Well,
always happy to have her in the pages.
Well,
Thank you
we
so
were going to
much.
turn to a couple people who are behind part of Patrick Hoskins' piece, The Making of Magic Art. They're not available right at the moment, but you are.
I'm here.
Turns out you're right there.
I'm so here.
So tell us about The Making of Magic Art, Patrick Hoskins.
So Magic Dragon magazine is I'll just go ahead and
there
do
you
this.
go. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it there.
And this, by the way, is not to bring in another magazine to the City Magazine issue or episode, but so Magic Dragon, this is the winter 2026 issue, which just came out. It's a children's literary and arts magazine, which I think is great. And this is actually something that has been on our radar for a little bit. We've talked about this, wanting to kind of give them some shine, and the family issue seemed like a good place to do it because it is produced here in Rochester. It is run by Patricia Roche, who is the editor, and Joanne Andrews, who's the art director. And I mean, the magazine itself is physically made, or I should say digitally, but made in Joanne's home in Pittsford, her home studio there. And so city art director Jake Walsh and myself went to meet with Patricia and Joanne, which was very cool because it was like editorial person and art director going to meet editorial person and art director from a magazine to another. And we just had a lot of fun hearing about what a children's literary magazine is and does, and kind of what that scope is. Because I think the first question I had was like, well, how do you tell a child, like, this poem that you submitted is not going to make it in the magazine, right? And in talking to Patricia specifically, but her and Joanne too, I learned the grace that they have, and specifically, Patricia actually shared with me a very sweet and very detailed email that she sent, basically declining someone's work for the magazine on the grounds that while it was wonderfully done, it was like this piece. There was this poem about like fighting with your siblings, and it was fairly dark. And essentially, her feedback was, "This is a lovely." It's very well written. It's very, it's very gripping. We just think that it's not. You should try for like a magazine that is aimed at children a little bit older, because usually it caps about 12 years old for Magic Dragon. But so I loved hearing about that, and I loved hearing about the partnerships that they've formed with local schools in RCSD, as well as a lot of the towns in the region, but also schools all over the country by which they source a lot of the artwork. And then they're kind of along those lines, there are prompts in each issue for creating artwork at home as well as for writing. So, and we're a magazine. We love to shout out other magazines too, because we're hanging in there.
I mean, I love hearing that other magazines are hanging in there, and still, especially a children's literary magazine, which we've got Patricia and Joanne on the line with us now. And I just want to ask them, first of all, hello, Patricia, editor of Magic Dragon. Nice to have you.
Hello.
Hello, Joanne, art director of Magic Dragon. Nice to have you.
Hello, thank you.
In a sense, when you read the words children's literary magazine, it feels like it might be 1987. And I'm really glad, Patricia, I'll start with you, that you can still do it. But is it harder? Do you feel like, kids in general are less interested or gravitate less toward it? Or do you think it can still be just as powerful?
Well, all I know is that all the children that we have contact with, either who are sending us writing or art, or after they have been published in the magazine, are just very enthusiastic about the whole idea. So they're already interested in writing, and they're already interested in being artists. And it's so delightful when you look at it. It's filled with art and poems and stories, and the kids and the parents and everybody loves it. So I guess that doesn't answer the question, but that's kind of the way it is.
No, Joanne, do you want to add to that?
No, I would just add to the excitement that the kids have, because I've had kids years later even say, when they happen to see the magazine, if I'm, have something with it, in my hand, and they're like, oh my gosh, I was in that magazine, 10 years ago, but I still remember it, so it definitely leaves a lasting impression with them.
And I hate to do this because, the team here is going to laugh because every conversation about art turns into me asking about AI. But I saw something really pertinent here. I saw a really interesting online argument among two artists. One was making the argument, an artist educator, that kids now are being taught still to draw. They have art classes. They have writing classes. AI can do it better. That's a waste of time. They should be taught other skills because they're going to lose to AI. It's going to be a waste of resources and time. And the other artist was saying, this is what's going to keep us human in the future. If we outsource everything to programs that are not human, we're not going to grow up with, number one, skills to do it, but number two, a sense of what it means to be human. And what makes kids more human than the way they express themselves, whether it's a poem about siblings, as Patrick talked about, even one that might not make your magazine. But Patricia, I hope kids keep doing it. I mean, I remember being a 10-year-old and, submitting stuff to publications that were like a dream if it ever got in. I never got in, but I loved the process of trying. So are you worried about the future in that way, Patricia?
Well, of course, but I think that what we're doing is we're really trying to support that idea of being human, creating things from human beings instead of from something mechanical. And our whole culture is asking us to be observers and not participants. And we're waiting for something to happen when we push a button, or we're told how to get something to work the way we want it. And what we're trying to do is to have children go into their heads and their hearts and understand and know that they can make something from what's inside of them, and it can be recognized and appreciated by other people.
Joanne, here's what artist Spencer Clavin says about all of this. He says, you could hardly do a worse disservice to a young person right now than to empty out the contents of their soul and strip them of the mental armor that only a rigorous literary and arts education can provide. And all in the name of some gullible claptrap about humanity and tech that wouldn't stand up to 5-minute scrutiny if the people peddling it and swelling it down had ever read a single thing worth reading. We had all better snap out of this kookery right the heck now or we're cooked. That's Spencer. What do you think, Joanne?
Wow, that's pretty emotional. But along with Pat was saying, I think you need the arts. I mean, I taught for 20 plus years. I don't expect all of these children that I taught to be artists, but it teaches them a skill to problem solve, how to creatively problem solve any situation, and that can be used in anything in their life. And so, yeah, people can say, "Oh, drawing is worthless," and sit down with a pencil and stuff, but you don't realize that that's like the first step to solving a problem and how to work through it and how, visually see it and say, okay, what about this option? What about this? And it's plus the fact it's just kind of nice to have something on paper at the end of the day after your whole process. So, and whether you hang it up on your refrigerator or not, or frame it, it's and of course I'm an artist, so of course I'm going to say I'm love doing that part of it, but we definitely leave it. We need it for our creative souls.
Well, before I let them go here, Patrick's piece has some great detail, as always. And why the name Magic Dragon? Patricia said, I wanted Magic Dragon because I imagined picking up the phone and saying, "This is the Magic Dragon. May I help you?" I want, what 10-year-old doesn't want that call still, Patrick Hoskin? Come on.
That's true. And also,
Right.
and this is why the lead photo of the piece is a great photo of the life-size Magic Dragon of that gives the magazine its name, that is in Joanne's basement. So I was very lucky to not only get that story, but also see the dragon in the flesh.
And if you're on YouTube, you're watching that right now. They rely on subscriptions and donations. They don't have ads. So we'll close with this. Pat, what's the future for you here?
Oh, beautiful! I know, for sure. We have some art camps and some classes and some programs, and we're gonna hope for the best from everybody.
Joanne, you want to add to that?
And always more magazines. So always keep submitting stuff, whether it's writing or art. We'd love to see what they're doing creatively, what
Love
kids
it.
are doing creatively.
What a treat it was to hear this story that I knew nothing about. I mean, the city does that every month, but this is a great example of the things happening in our
great.
community. Pat and Joanne, congratulations to you guys. Thank you very much for taking the time for the program today.
Thank you.
The editor and art director of Magic Dragon. You've got some kids who are going to grow up and maybe submit.
Absolutely.
Who
and,
knows?
And honestly, like I would absolutely have been one of those kids who would have been thrilled to get any piece in just the very cool feeling of, seeing not only did I do this work, but like they reprinted on this glossy paper and it's in a book next to, all the other very talented work too. And that was also something that I talked to someone, an art teacher in the community who's been submitting a lot of the work to the magazine throughout the years, and she talked about like the gallery style presentation of the book, and even just having kids see that, like open up and just be like, oh, here's art and now it's all over, and it's like kind of, she didn't say this, I'm sort of editorializing, but it's kind of like the anti-scroll. And I really liked that. It's like, here's just a way, it's like doing a gallery wall or something. It's not just a constant feed of stuff. It's like these two pieces are talking to each other or whatever that case may be. I think that's very underrated to see artwork presented that way in this day and age.
Love it. Well done. The piece is The Making of Magic Art. And boy, we're down to our last 4 minutes or so. Ryan, what didn't we cover that we should have covered here?
I really like, and this piece that Pat wrote about the family musicians resonated with me because I'm a family musician. I used to play in a band with my brother where I played drums and he played guitar, and we connected with that. So it's good to see other musicians connecting and brothers connecting through music. That piece is called Heart and Soul.
All right, you got about 40 seconds to tell that story.
Well, and this maybe was wish fulfillment because my brother does not play an instrument, but I wanted us to be in a band so bad. So you lived my dream.
Yeah.
It is a piece that, yes, it highlights Matt and Chris O'Brien, who originally started the band Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad. Now Chris continues to play in it. Matt's band is called Flying Object, which Chris also plays in, but they talked a lot about making music together over the years. And it also highlights Juliana Athade and Eric Bayer, who are the co-artistic directors for the Society for Chamber Music in Rochester. They also play in the RPO, and they're married. So two different sort of family artistic relationships there, in the way that influences the art they make.
I love that. Once in a while, I can sit down with my older brother. My twin brother is a phenomenal musician. Quit school as an architect to go chase musical dreams for a number of years, was on the road, did really, really well. I noticed how easy it was to get a date for him, so I picked up a guitar when I was in college, and he'd never let me play music with him because I was never as good as him, but my band was allowed to open for his band. That was like it was like his way of like relegating me.
That's a different story.
But these days, but these days it's fun to sit down with family and still play, still jam together, right?
We try to do it a little bit remotely. He's in Baltimore and I'm up here, but yeah, still jamming.
Good stuff, Pat. And what else did we miss here, Leah Stacy?
I want to shout out Berto's photos throughout the issue. He did a lot of shooting for this one. Jake as well. The two of them, I think, picked up a camera maybe more for this issue than some of the other issues this year. And I love to see their photography in these pieces. And gotta speak up for them since they're not here. But there are some really beautiful portraits throughout this issue, and the team really crushed it. As always,
we're a family. So.
I was leafing through the pages. I was like, I love this issue.
Yeah, I want to kind of close. It's funny Patrick said that. I want to close with this idea of work family because it was probably 5 years ago. I was talking to a friend who was was applying for a job, and people were like, "This is like a family here," and he said, work should be work. Work shouldn't be family. Your family should be family.
Yeah.
And I get that too, because I get the idea that sometimes they try to sell you the schlocky idea that, like, well, this is a family here, so, don't ask for a raise. It's a family, come on. It's like everybody's for everybody here. And that can be used that way. But at the same time, when it does feel like a family, to me, XXI does feel like an extended family to me.
In the healthy ways.
In the healthy ways. Yeah, in the healthy ways. So I think there's a healthy kind of work family and a not as healthy. And I hope that most people feel the healthy version of that. If work feels like a family at all to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes dysfunctional.
Not just a trauma bond.
Yeah. Sometimes dysfunctional.
Yeah, we work in media, Evan. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And before we go, anything social, anything fun coming up for you guys here?
We will have a city social in April to celebrate that issue, which we're working on right now. The theme of that one is growth. And so, watch our social media, but also when that issue prints, actually, our social's kind of that day. It'll be April 2nd. Save the date.
Look for our socials.
More details coming soon.
What did you say there, Ref?
Look at our social media to find out more information.
In our newsletters, we always put it in there too. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletters, you can do that right on our website. Our calendar of events is also a great resource on there, rockcitymag.com, and all of our social is at rockcitymag. So we're out there.
From the editor's note all the way through, really interesting look at family in a lot of different ways. Thank you, team. Really, really good stuff from City Magazine, online and still physically in print. Get yours and
color
that cover. I love that idea.
And share it with us.
Share it. Share it with the City team. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. That's the team from City Magazine. From all of us at Connections, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening on whatever platform you find us on. Thank you. We're back with you tomorrow on member-supported public media.
This program is a production of WXXI Public Radio. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, management, or underwriters. The broadcast is meant for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or use in another medium without expressed written consent of WXXI is strictly prohibited. Connections with Evan Dawson is available as a podcast. Just click on the Connections link at WXXInews.org.